Why you should not fear death. A lot of people are afraid to die. I'm here to let you know that this should not be one of your fears. Why you shouldn't be afraid to die. Because there's no such thing as die or death. It is all an illusion. You do not actually die. While your physical body will cease to exist at some point, you will still be around. You're eternal. You're not gonna die. You should not fear death. Death is what we call death, is really transitioning. You're transitioning from the physical to the non physical. You're returning to who you really are. You're returning to pure positive energy where you are not limited by a physical body. You see, a lot of the time, we only see ourselves in physical terms. We think that this human body is the full extent of who we are, like some car or some house that burns down, or some car that is written off and it doesn't exist anymore. So we figure that if someone kills you, or if you die, or you're sick, or whatever way you die, that that is the end of you. And if you're gonna think that way, you will continue to fear death. But I'm here to let you know that this is not what it is. What we call death is all part of the plan. It's just like a butterfly and a caterpillar. What seems like the end is not the end, it's a transitioning. A lot of people have had what is called near death experiences, NDEs, near death experiences. And these people came to realize that even when they had been pronounced dead, if a bird, the bird made me say death because I'm hearing the birds and it's beautiful. Even when they had been pronounced dead, they were not really dead. They were able to look down, let's say they were in a hospital, look down and see doctors operating on their body. And they became super powerful, where they were able to say or to tell what was going on in another room where they couldn't have physically done so. They were so all knowing that some of them were able to read their own obituaries, and doctors were astonished when these people miraculously, if I may use that word, came back when they had been pronounced dead and were able to tell the doctors exactly what was going on when these doctors thought that they were brain dead. Science is having a hard time explaining the near death experience. People who had this near death experience were dead, so to speak, and they were in such a beautiful place. They were able to meet loved ones, and it's a place of pure positive energy where they really did not want to come back. They were fine, they were happy. You see, very often it's us who are left behind, who are experiencing all this pain because we miss our loved ones. We miss our loved ones. If a child, the dad or the mom leaves when they're very young, they cry because they're missing. Maybe they can't fully understand that mommy is coming back or dad is coming back. It's almost the same thing we experience as adults, where we don't fully understand, some of us, that there is no death and you go on and on. We are eternal, as we hear the birds. The birds don't worry about that. It's humans, because we think that consciousness will cease to exist when we die, when we so-called die or we transition. I don't even like the word die. But no, that is when you become more conscious. That is when you're at one with God. That is when you are at one with source, with what you came from. You came here. We are spiritual beings on a physical journey. We just came here to check out what's going on. It's like going to a party. You don't stay at the party forever as much as you're enjoying it, but there comes a time when you leave. I know of this young guy who just died or transitioned at a very young age, 27, and he had everything going for him. He had just completed his studies, medical studies, just starting out as a doctor. He had done so well, excelled in so many fields. He spoke to his dad. He spoke to his dad the night before, and the next day he was gone. He died from a heart attack. Suddenly, any one of us could depart just suddenly. And we're talking about why you shouldn't fear death. Let's stick to the point. We have to come to terms with that and to understand it is just part of the journey. What seems like something bad isn't. For instance, a woman giving birth, you have to go to that hospital. Who wants to experience all of that pain? Nobody wants to experience that pain of giving birth. That actual pain, who wants that? But you realize that if you look at the bigger picture, it's a beautiful thing. You're giving birth and you're happy. You have a brand new baby. And that is how all of us came into this earth. That physical way, came to experience the physical. The same thing applies to what we call death. You're not dying. And oftentimes, when someone transitions, there is so much crying. I've lost loved ones, obviously. I'm sure you have. There's so much crying. There is so much pain. There is so much heartache. Because we do not understand that death is all part of the plan and death is only an illusion. Just like the caterpillar and the butterfly. It is not the end. There is no end. You go on and on. So there's no need to fear death. You may not want that pain of dying, to be shot, to be stabbed, to go through prolonged illness, but that is not death. That is sickness. If you have cancer, if you have whatever sickness and you're living a life of pain, you live in a life of pain. What does death do? Death takes away that pain. You no longer experiencing that physical pain. If you've been shot, oh, a little pain for a little while, and then what does death do? Death takes away that pain. And that is why you shouldn't fear death. But this doesn't mean that you should commit suicide because death is so wonderful. No. You came here for a reason. Not because it's so great being at your house that you should not go on that vacation or to that party. So I'm in no way advocating getting rid of yourself, committing suicide, because being here on this planet is beautiful. But what happens when you leave this physical body? you're no longer constrained. You're no longer constrained by a physical body. Now you could go everywhere. Now you could even participate in your funeral if you want to, because you're not limited by a physical body. Right now I'm here in nature. I cannot be by the beach in a second because I'm constrained by this physical body. But the physical body is not who I am. The physical body is not who you are. Let me tell you, you are more than your physical body. We are more than these physical bodies. We are God experiencing himself or herself. We are infinite intelligence or source experiencing itself. And that is why you should not fear death. Because what is the point of fearing death anyway? What is the point? Are you going to live your life in fear? Because you're afraid to die, so you're constantly in fear. But when you leave that physical body, which someday it will happen, when you leave that physical body, you will wonder, what was I worried about all along? It's just like being sick. For all your life, sometimes you get sick and you start to worry. Oh God, maybe I'm going to die. You get sick and you're still here. You didn't die. Or you go to sleep the night. There are ants everywhere because we're in nature, but it's all good. It's all good. You worry. You worry. And maybe some spiders and stuff. But it's all good. That is what life is about. It's all about balance. What we see as positive and what we see as negative, but it is not necessarily positive or negative. From a point of from the perspective of duality, we see it like that, but it really isn't. Yeah. So you're sick and you're worried every day. You're worrying, but here you're still here and you didn't die. So then when you transition, you ask yourself, what was I worried about? Here I am, vibrating in pure bliss, pure positive energy, at one with source. It's beautiful, and I don't want to go back. As I said about a near-death experience, a lot of people who experienced death, the near-death experience, and came back, you know what happened? And you could do your research. Now they no longer fear death. They no longer. I spoke to a gentleman, an older gentleman who came to fix my refrigerator. And he was in a coma for a long time. And they were about to pull that plug, but thankfully, one of his family members was a nurse in that hospital. And they said, wait a while, don't pull it as yet. And then he woke up from the coma when they thought he had died. They had already pronounced him dead. What did he tell me? Oh, down there is the most beautiful place. He no longer fears death. He's like, wow, this is an amazing place. You see, we think from the human standpoint so much. That is why, and the limited physical standpoint, that is why we fear death so much, a lot of us. But we're not looking at the bigger picture. Just look at the bigger picture for a while and seeing, did nature make a mistake? Did the divine, did God, did source, did infinite intelligence make a mistake? That is all part of the plan. That is how it was supposed to be. What you think is bad is not necessarily bad. Germs on your body, they're there for a reason. Viruses, they're there for a reason. The cockroaches, they're there for a reason. Everything has its purpose, and so does what we call death, which is not really death per se. It's all part of the plan. Did nature make a mistake? Look at the broad picture and stop thinking about yourself alone, and you will realize that it's all good. It's all part of the plan. Everything is there for a reason, and just let it be. Live fully. Go all in on your passion. I always advise this on the Manchester Way YouTube channel. Your purpose. What is it that you're supposed to do? Do that. Go all in on your talent. Go all in on your passion, your purpose. Do what you love. I love music, so I have a YouTube channel, Piano Keyboard Guide YouTube channel, pianokeyboardguide.com website, books on piano, music. Every day I'm recording music, I'm teaching, and I love stuff like this deep kind of stuff. So I made a YouTube channel sharing what I know on these topics. Do that. Don't only consume, produce as well. Live fully. Do what you have to do. You came here to have a ball. You came here to live fully. So live fully. So when it's done, it's done. Leave a legacy behind. I'm putting out all this content. When I'm gone, this content will be there. I'm helping somebody. So I will live in their hearts. Is Bob Marley dead? No. How can he be dead when he's still sending you that energy, that positive energy? Don't worry about a thing. He's still having an impact on you. How is he dead? Or whatever musician you like, or whatever, whoever, or your grandmother, or your grandfather, the things they taught you, it's still living within you. The same way you're still gonna live within people in the physical. They're still gonna remember you. They're not gonna forget you. It cannot end. Energy. Energy only changes. You cannot destroy energy. The great scientists, they know that you cannot destroy energy. You cannot destroy it. It can only change into something else. So the same way, nobody could destroy you. They kill you today, so-called, they have not destroyed you. It is said that if people only knew, if people only knew how beautiful death were, they would get rid of the death penalty. As a leaf fell on me, I'm hearing nature and it's wonderful. They would get, and you could hear the birds. Wow. They would get rid of the death penalty because you're killing someone and you're sending them to pure bliss. You're killing someone and you're sending them to pure happiness, to pure positive energy. They're not limited by a physical body, so we would get rid of the death penalty. This idea that death is a bad thing, that is what has you in fear. So-called death. I have to say this because I keep saying it, that it is not real death, it's really an illusion. It's really an illusion. You were not here. Let's say, what year were you born in? Let's say you were born in 1990 or 1980. You weren't there in 1970 or 60 or 50 or 40. I know for sure you weren't there in the year 1900, or else you'd be over 100 years old. Do you have a problem with that? You did not exist then, but do you have a problem with that? In terms of your physical body, was it there on planet Earth? No, but you don't have a problem with that. But you have a problem with not being here in, let's say, 2050 or 60 or 70 or whatever year, or even next year. You have a problem with that. It's because you already experienced it and you're attached to what you already know. You've become comfortable with what you already know. It's just like a relationship. You're comfortable with the person you're with and you don't want it to end, but when it ends and you get somebody new, you realize, oh wow, this is even more beautiful. Death is like that. I hope you got some value in this video. As we're here in nature, like the video, subscribe, share, do all the things that they do on YouTube. My name is Manchas Kazabot. This is the Manchas Way YouTube channel, sending you loads of positive energy, abundance energy, life energy. God bless and all the best.